Thanks everybody for coming. We're going to start with the pledge of allegiance. Let's all rise, please. Pledge of allegiance to the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
I think that both of you that were done this summer, the former commissioner, Angela Giddings, hopefully on the mend, but we want to wish him the best.
Thanks.
I said that he's in our thoughts and prayers.
He was in the hospital recently.
He's still in.
He's still in the hospital.
So we want to send him our good thoughts.
Okay. Big flag.
Great thoughts for him. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been met by transmitting the notice of the regular meeting to the Commission's official newspaper on February 6, 2025, posting the notice where required and filing a copy of the notice to the Commission clerk. The Dealer Commission meeting will be audio and videotaped and will be shown on APTV, Optimum 77, and Dragos of Monmouth County on Files 28. I'm going to take our roll call. Alan Hurst.
Here, present.
Asbury Park.
Present.
Gio. Interlaken.
Present.
What Carol? Luck Arbor. Here. Neptune.
No, he can't make it.
And Ocean.
Here.
Tonight we have a resolution to approve the minutes of the regular meeting from February 20th, 2025.
So
Second,
I'll second.
Lincoln.
Alan Hurst.
Yes.
Asbury Park.
Yes.
Interlaken.
Yes.
Luck Arbor. Yes. And Ocean.
yes.
And tonight we have a resolution to approve the treasurer's report and pay bills.
Okay, now which one? Oh, here it is.
The total deposits from last month equaled $74,089.98. The total receipts for this month, for the month prior, is $4,064.84. So the total available was $78,154.82. And then our disbursements were $5,924.54. So our total on deposit now is $72,230.28.
Someone please offer to approve the treasurer's report and pay bills.
Yeah, I offer it.
Second,
Second, Asbury Park.
Alan Hurst.
Yes.
Asbury Park.
Yes.
Interlaken.
Yes.
Luck Arbor. Yes. And Ocean.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Our stormwater grant, the new stormwater grant management, we had a meeting today with the DEP on two subjects. We passed one and the new one. And I'm just going to go over the new one right now. We had a very positive meeting. We had a couple of things we needed to gather, and we did gather those items. We had to get a new extend or one of our codes, secret codes with the state. We got that done. UEI, I think it's federal. Got that extended. Ricky did that. Thank you, Ricky, our CFO. I'm working on a smart New Jersey plant. New Jersey Smart. No, New Jersey Smart. It's a program for vendors, and I guess we consider it a vendor. We didn't know we were in it, but the state came back at the last minute and said, "Oh, by the way, if you want to get a check to Ocean Township, we're going to change it from interlink to Ocean Township." So we could do either. We could leave it interlink and check sent in, or use the Ocean address. So I made the phone call, and in a couple of minutes, we were able to at least enter the information into the DEP, and hopefully I'll know tomorrow about the change. So we'll go from there. If not, we'll keep it the way it is. And the other one was the big one, which was the in-kind services. And the state was reducing our months from 36 to 30, and they questioned almost all of our estimated labor rates, which we had for the last 20 years that Steve's been using or more. And so they questioned that, and we said, we'll look at them, we're gonna modify it to what they want, and we're gonna move on, and it's getting less lower dollars, but it doesn't really matter, they didn't seem to care. And we asked them to be considered and review them as fast as possible, but it was a face-to-face online meeting, which was the best thing we ever did with them. It's been emails back and forth and very frustrating because a lot of things they should have caught a year ago, or a year and a half ago.
It happened since July 2023.
So it's been a while.
Yes.
And we're finally to the point where hopefully we get a signed contract with, I would say in 2 weeks. I'm sure that's what it'll. So, yeah, Indigo Powell's been helping us out a bunch, stirring the pot, or at least shaking the tree. But we've been doing it too. We're working with New Jersey Plan, the public lakes group. They sent a white paper to the commissioner on the problems we're all seeing. All the lakes are seeing the same things. All the award winners are basically having a torturous time with the DEP recently. But it seems like this was the best way to do it, face to face. So maybe they'll learn something and do more with each award winners, 10 award winners to the last grant. So
Yeah, it's definitely important having budget and finance there,
it was great. Yeah,
along with the
program people.
DEP program people.
It's great.
Because the budget and finance people admitted they don't know anything at all about what we're doing or why we're doing it. But they're just looking at the numbers, that's it.
But with that said, myself, Peter and I, and then Steve and Peter went over the plans, and Peter's gonna go over in detail the plan. So I'll leave the camera. What's that?
I stand up and.
Yeah. Jeannie, tell me when it's okay with the camera, okay?
Oh, what, okay,
Tell me when you can see the picture or this display.
okay.
How's that?
You better go in a little bit, zoom in a bit. And tilt up. Okay, I mean, it's not great. Do you want it closer than that?
All you need to see is this plan, which you will see. You'll be able to see that.
Can you zoom in on that a little bit, Don? Really, it's blurry.
I can't.
You come here.
That's about it. That's the best I
Okay.
can do.
All right,
We
that's,
don't have the Zoom we don't have it online.
okay.
Okay.
Hold on.
And can you pull it toward you a little bit, Peter, the whole thing? Then they don't have to move the camera. Just pull it toward you about 5 inches.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Oh, I see.
That's
That's
it.
good.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I see.
You see it? Okay.
You don't have to see me.
You actually look at the TV. It's easier to look at the TV, but.
I'll stand away so you just hear a voice.
Jeannie, can you mute yourself so we get the camera? I want to blow up this on the screen.
What did you, I couldn't hear what you said, Don.
Currently, can you mute yourself? So
Yeah.
when people talk, so the picture will go on the screen here. We want to show.
All right.
Thank you.
Try it. Okay, try it now. Is the camera going to pick up the presentation?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't read what's there, but when you point to things, we can see.
Can you double click on it?
Can you mute yourself now, because it's not gonna lock in. If you don't, I think if you mute, we'll lock, it'll take the screen out. The people that, we have folks here in the room, we'd like to see it on the screen. Okay, got it, I'm sorry.
Okay,
There you go. That's it, right there.
I'll start.
Go.
Administratively, I'll just talk about a couple things. The grant was awarded in July of 2023. Typically, we would think, why is it backwards? Typically, we would think that we would be well underway of at least completion of design and maybe start of construction by now. But we've been literally stopped for the better part of 2 years by the DEP for, I don't want to call them insignificant, but certainly issues that were never deliberated to the extent that they were. You don't need insurance for a project that's not out to bid yet. You don't need to go through all the details that the state's been going through. And I don't know why it happened. I don't know if it came from the top down. I don't know if they want us to try to slow projects down to save money, but we will never know. So we're trying to get the job done. So what Don said was, this project that others haven't done has allowed us to do some initial work. We went out, we did surveying of, I'll describe the project a little bit, but we did some surveying, some initial layout work before we get into the actual design work. So I'm going to present the plan. I'm going to ask Steve to help with some of the design and where we're going to go in the future. Do we literally now, based on your meeting today, have only from now until July of the next year to finish the job?
I think we can, that's starting to negotiate.
Okay.
We're
moving ahead.
As fast as we can.
So what Don asked is that we provide some sort of presentation to the commission, so you all understand where we are right now and what direction we're going to move, whether we can start immediately, not knowing if they're going to pay for the project before the grant agreement is returned to us, or we wait a couple of weeks until we get the grant agreement. So that's where we are right now. This is the project, Water Quality Improvement Grant in the Township of Ocean, because it's Seaview Square Mall. I'll just tell you a bit about the project. We list the commission members and the commission people. That's us. And then I will show you the first sheet, which is an interesting one. We did not prepare this sheet. It was prepared by Seaview Square Mall. And we were able to get this because we work with Ocean Township. And it's a site plan layout of all the buildings, even buildings farther back than we're addressing, and the front parking area, and the loop road, and the basins. So this is Route 66 on the bottom. The entryway is here and here, Applebee's and the gas station right there. And my trivia question of the day, can I do this? Neither Jesse or Don knew this. Before Applebee's and the strip mall was here, what building was there for probably 25 years? I work on Wayside Road. I went by this project site at least 4 times a day, maybe 6 times a day. I didn't remember that it was the Seaview Square Cinema. It was the movie theater when Star Wars was presented there in that era, from the late 70s to the early 90s. And I did not remember that it was there. So that's, you all lost that trivia question, sorry. So we're going to finish the design. You won't have to help us. So this is the layout. We took that layout and we went out and did some topo. We did some grading elevations. We located the buildings as they exist now and show it's not shaded on this plan, but you come in the loop road and come around and in, you have a basin on the west side and you have a basin on the east side. They're the 2 basins that we're really addressing. And we're addressing it for a variety of reasons, but primarily, if you remember back, and I don't know, Jesse may remember, you remember the orange colloidal clay that came into Deal Lake, into the main body of Deal Lake. Bill Benford was a member of the commission at the time, so it was quite a while ago. It came in, we thought it was from Seaview Square Mall. So Bill and I came out to the mall and looked, and it wasn't. So he said, come on, come with me. And we went on to Route 18 and pulled off, which I was extremely worried about. Got out of the car, walked onto the Ocean Township property at the turnoff of Route 18 onto Route 66. And sure enough, it was Cedar Village. It was the project in Ocean Township that starts way over on Bound Road and comes across. They clear stripped the entire property, and it was clay. And that clay got rained on, and it came into the stream corridor and crossed over through their drainage area into our basins here. Totally filled with sediment, crossed over, went all the way past Christie's Restaurant, all the way through Terrace Pond, all the way into the main body of Deal Lake. So that's where all this water is coming from. Then you have 35 acres. I won't steal Steve's thunder, but I asked him to do some design review with me. We have 35 acres of paved area and buildings from Seaview Square Mall. Absolutely no control of stormwater runoff. So all the sediment in the parking lot, all the oils from the vehicles that park there, everything that happens there is coming down into the access road and making its way into these basins that makes its way across Route 35 that comes into Deal Lake. So Steve's help and our office and Don, we put together a good grant. I didn't know we were going to get it. We've gotten several other ones, and I wasn't really looking forward to this one being received positively, but it was. And what's the total value?
It's around 900,000.
About 750,000 of construction.
900.
Oh, in construction portion of
Right.
that 750. So here's where we are now, which is what Don asked to discuss. I fancied this up a little bit. Here are the same basins. There were two, one, two, we're separating these basins. All the flow coming into those basins is going to be controlled. We'll control it through implementation of manufactured treatment devices, MTDs, same as we put on Memorial Drive in Asbury Park, Comstock in Asbury Park, Grand Avenue in Asbury Park. Big structures, manhole structures, 3 manholes. It removes petroleum hydrocarbons, it removes pollutants, and it removes flowables. And they're easily accessed. And something like this, they probably have to put on some sort of a treatment schedule, you know, before a major storm or every 3 to 6 months. So we have 10. They're situated primarily along storm drainage lines coming in from the mall into the basins. So you'll have a storm drain line on the west side of the this is the property, the building's not on here, but this is the strip mall property with Applebee's on the east and Starbucks on the west. They have drainage coming in at 2 locations. Up in the Target parking lot, two major lines coming in. Coming back toward where Sears used to be, 2 major lines coming in. One other one we're adding here, and then over on the far east side, one coming around the loop road behind PetSmart, and 2 down below on the far east side of the property coming in here. So we have 10 basins. We're going to be doing a couple other things, some rain gardens and some implementation of topography changes. We're not sure what that's going to be yet, but there are trees in both of them. So we have a determination to make. Do we want to remove the trees and put in soil that's more pervious to allow water to percolate? Or do we want to try to leave the trees there in their natural state and try to work around them, getting enough volume in the basins to do the stormwater improvements that we need to do? That's exactly where we are right now. We've done a lot of field work, but we have more to do to verify elevations of existing drainage structures. But I'd like Steve to help because he's instrumental in this project, just to kind of talk about a couple of the other design if you want to.
Yeah, I'll go up there, so
Okay.
maybe it'd be easier for people that are online
Here, yeah.
to hear. But yeah, as Peter pointed out, I think, you know, the some of the fundamental elements here are, you know, number one, these manufactured treatment devices, which we've had tremendous amount of success with. So as Peter mentioned, they're large vaults with baffles. They have the ability to slow down flow, trap sediment, trap a lot of the petroleum hydrocarbons that adhere to those sediments, remove particulate phosphorus, which is which causes algae blooms in the lake. And these are easily serviced. They can be inspected and cleaned out, just as we do now with the multiple MTDs that we have installed around the lake. The other thing with these rain gardens, they're designed to pick up flow that's coming across the roads. So this would be overland flow. And again, and similar to the MTDs, they function best for the first flush of every storm, as well as those would be sized for what DEP refers to as the water quality event. So that, you know, people don't think that it's that much rain, but the water quality event amounts to about 2.75 inches over 24 hours, or about 1.25 over 2 hours. That's a lot of rain. Okay, so the importance of that is by managing in totality that water quality event, we're basically removing pollutants that come in with about 93% of all the storms. Okay, granted, the bigger storms, a 100-year event, you know, when you get this massive flooding, there's no basins that can handle that. Okay, so these aren't for flood control, they're for water quality improvement. And that's what we need more than anything in the lake. Slow the flow down so that we can decrease downstream erosion, trap as many pollutants as we can. As Peter mentioned, you know, we're dividing this basin now into sub-basins. That'll help even more in terms of slowing some of the flow down, providing more trapping opportunity. And yeah, there's a lot of work still to be done. You know, this is some initial grading, but we may have to make some decisions, as Peter mentioned, about the trees. Do we take them down? Do we keep them? That's going to be a function of constructability, maintenance. But those are decisions that'll come, later on. But this will be a significant improvement because these basins right now don't have the capacity or the capability rather to really slow water down or to trap pollutants. They weren't really constructed in that manner. So, by doing these improvements, particularly with these MTDs and the rain gardens intercepting a lot of that particulate pollutant in advance, that'll help these things function even better in terms of taking care of all the flow that's coming in from upgrading. And as Peter mentioned, we've got 35 acres of 100% impervious cover. I mean, there's no lawn there, there's nothing. It's just rooftop and macadam. So now we'll have the ability, which we don't have at all. Now all of that runoff just gets channeled right into these basins. And because they don't really have the capability, due to, when they were built, the regulations are totally different then. Now we'll be able to do a lot better in terms of trapping pollutants, slowing down flow, cutting down sedimentation, both in terms of sediment being transported as well as slowing some of that flow. So we're not cutting down those streams is what occurs now. But yeah, a lot of good work already, but a lot of work that we need to do.
So the MTDs, Peter and I were talking, the MTDs are gonna be offline MTDs, right?
We haven't decided yet, but they usually work better when they're offline. So that a major storm event doesn't come in and wash sediment into the storm drain system.
Yeah.
Right, and the other thing is the amount of flow is dramatic, as you know,
Yeah.
right?
So so what Don is mentioning, when we say offline, what that means is that they have a baffle structure in them. So when we get that first flush or those storms up to that 1 year event, all that water gets routed into those structures. You exceed that, there's going to be like a baffle there that will, that higher flow will pass. But the dirtiest part of every storm is with that first flush. It doesn't make a difference. It's a 5-year storm, the 100-year storm. The dirtiest part is that initial, part of the storm. So yeah, there'll be,
Okay.
we'll probably make them offline. That's what we've done with all our other ones.
And now we could utilize the current drain system. Right?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. That's the beauty of the MTDs is that we don't have to spend like a ton of money, like repiping everything, which would be like an insane amount of money. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
And any questions?
Is Ocean Township and Neptune going to be sharing the responsibility for cleaning the MTDs?
No, it's neither. Neptune has zero to do with it. It will be the responsibility of the Seaview Mall operation. The Seaview Mall has the responsibility now, and they'll retain that responsibility.
Thank you.
So it was a little premature to meet with either the Seaview Mall or the Monmouth County representatives prior to us having a plan together. We have that plan now.
But we also,
proceed
but
with
we
the
do have
design.
them, we do have them obligated.
Yes, we do.
Right. So
Yes, we do.
that's,
So I can't really answer a question on timing if anyone had one, but we'll be working now. If they give us the signed agreement, there's absolutely no reason why Stephen and I can't start working on this as soon as possible. It's going to be a
I think you can
good
start.
project to work on.
Yeah, I think you can start now. They're obligated. They already gave us the go ahead.
Yeah, I know. The problem is when they get a bill and it's
You can't
dated
say-
before the agreement is
I want
signed.
to do an RFP, but I think you can. To move out, how much money will it cost approximately to move out to get to the RFP process?
To get to be able to advertise for receipt of bids?
Sure.
Oh, I don't know. I have to look at the grant and the,
Yeah, it's still gonna be a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Who's gonna do all the sizing on those MTDs, like the rate.
you size the treatment devices based on the volume of flow coming in on the pipe sizes. And you size the rain gardens based on the runoff, surface runoff coming into the basins. And then these big basins are sized, as I said, I don't know how much water is coming from Cedar Village. I asked one of my guys to pull the Cedar Village development plans so we can look at that project. Or I'll have to have Jesse do it. We'll look at that project.
I think
I have a question about the size of the MTDs. Were you speaking about those and I just missed that? or-
yes.
Yeah,
And
They're
what,
not determined yet.
oh, they're not determined, okay.
No,
Should we authorize to go out to receive the bids?
no,
So
not
that,
yet.
no, but this way we'll have it
We'll-
authorized already and we're
We'll,
ready to go.
we'll have more, we'll have another presentation before.
Okay,
we're ready
is
for
this
that.
way when you're ready to go,
No.
ready to go. We don't have.
Let's get the agreement
No,
first. They
maybe.
may criticize us.
We'll have another meeting or two before that.
Okay.
Let's get, let's get the agreement
Okay,
first. No,
okay.
we won't have to wait. Jeannie, the basins will be sized based on, typically they're sized based on the size of the pipe that's coming in or going by. Here we may have a little more drainage than just the pipe because there is surface runoff too. But we'll size the basins based on the drainage area to each one and proceed accordingly. Vortex is the best ones we've been using recently. Easy to install,
Whatever they call them.
easy to maintain and manage.
The basins themselves, what year storm do you rate them to? 10-year, 100-year?
Between,
Yeah,
I'd say a 25 probably.
Not for,
I don't know what you
not for the
think.
MTDs, I'm talking the basins themselves.
Oh, the basins. I don't know. I need the flow paths first.
before
Before we do that. I don't know really if they were designed as much as they followed an existing topographic profile.
Right.
You know, that was there before. I don't remember when the mall was.
We got what we got, can't make
I
it
wish
that
my
much
husband
larger.
was here, you would have known that was the cinema.
That would have been the second, yes. The movie theater was like in the early 70s, so assuming it was around the same time, maybe the late 60s. No, sometime around there. Sears was across the street and Sears moved over. Steinbach's moved from Asbury Park to the mall.
It was all 74, it was built in
Early 70s.
1970.
Okay.
But we, in the past, we have looked at the outlet structures on those basins.
Yes.
and They're really lacking. They don't have, they would never pass muster for what's required now. They're more like advances than anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe designed to like store some water, but not really hold water back. And that's why you end up with all of that erosion downstream. It was really not designed that.
There's some, the litter collects all in there too.
Yeah, it's immediately across from the outlet.
What's immediately across from the bottom discharge, the bottom right hand side, across the 35, is it hotel? The motel and then Christie's, kind of past Christie's or back that
It
area.
whips around the golf course. The golf
Yeah,
course.
so the golf course.
Yeah.
So all that sediment that got transferred into the terrace pond section of Deal Lake and other sections that migrate into terrace pond.
Okay, and ideally,
Yeah.
once we get this program going, Terrace Pond, we maybe get some quotes in
Perhaps.
for doing that.
Yes.
In the township and the county and all
Yeah.
that, and take the sediment out of the west end, it's really piled up.
So that's where we're at. It's a bit of work that's been done. There's more design work that has to be done to finish the project, to go out to bid. Don't know what the cost will be. I think we really need to do a little work on the topography, know what we're doing interior of each basin. There are trees. If you go out there and look or look on a Google map, you'll see trees inside each one of these basin areas now, fully, mature trees. Don't want to lose them all if we don't have to. But the problem is we need the volume and capacity of the basin, and sometimes the elevation is too high for us to keep them. So we'll look at that with those things in mind.
Any questions of the commissioners?
I have a
think
question.
Positive, sure.
I don't know if it's part of the CV Square property or not, but the gas station that is in the lower left portion of that map.
Yes, yeah.
There is a basin there on the eastern side of that, on
Yes.
close to 66. It's always filled with garbage and sometimes some storm water, I guess. But and there's a whole lot of cars there now that weren't there before. So that would probably create some additional, contaminants in any runoff from that. Is there a way that we could pick that up in these
I don't think
basins that
that
are?
connects to our basin system. I think it connects to the state highway drainage system because they have to secure, excuse me, a state highway utility permit when they did their reconstruction.
They just rebuilt that whole
Yes, they
thing.
Okay,
So I think that water goes due south into Route 66 drainage and then goes
okay,
east to
Okay.
I don't know,
whatever they call it.
I'll bring it up now, but we had we had foam, I saw when I was over there looking at it, I saw foam in the stream. And I called the DEP hotline and got the people out there. And Terry, the DEP person, we took a walk. And she actually found that there was a beautiful Gadian rock. And we walked around the gas station, found nothing. We looked in that pond, we found nothing. Or the drainage basin, which was dry. And then we looked down on the west side of the exit road. And there's a beautiful Gadian rock formation that holds back the water. And it's a waterfall. And it was stirring up, it was making the natural foam, the steam was going.
The iron bacteria?
Yeah, and it had a nice foam pile up downstream, that's what we saw. So she's gonna send a report in on that, but it wasn't hazardous or anything like that. But I thought it was the gas station, so that's why I was concerned. But
Yeah, that'll happen in the winter quite frequently, because you get a whole bunch of organic material that's like breaking down, and then when it gets aerated that way, you'll get this, you can tell if it's like a tannish foam, typically, it's a lot of like amino acids and stuff like that.
just a little tidbit, it was Terry, and Terry worked for the environmental specialist, water enforcement. So it's different than if you're complaining about somebody cutting down trees or shoreline, that's a whole different group, which goes out of, I believe, it's interesting, two or three groups that revolve around the lake, if we have a problem, so water quality is a big one, and she's involved with that. 37 years of expertise, and she's retiring at a shop. Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
No,
I think that was very positive.
okay. Thanks, everybody. We're gonna move the camera back. See that. That's good. Okey-doke.
That looks good.
That's the next one. Shoreline protection, anything, Jeannie, on that?
Well, you got the letter that I wrote to Robert.
Right.
Cook. I sent it to you and Steve, again, asking for a meeting. I followed up with a phone call. I left a message. Nobody's answering. I'm surprised because the other times when I've called, and you've probably had that experience too, someone always answers. So I don't know what that means, but I'll keep on that.
Okay. Thanks. Weed treatment, we have now here's a unique thing. I'm gonna let, we got the RFPs written up, and Jesse, you wanna talk about that a little bit?
When they were advertising, they're being sent out to 4 different companies.
So we're bailing out to 4 different companies. The bids are gonna come in, and we're gonna explain the process after that.
They'll come in, you let Steve review them, and our GPA will look at them.
Yeah.
And then we can award it. They're coming in April 15th. I guess.
And explain that process, that the CPA, QPA, who's Dave Brown,
Right.
reviews them and makes a recommendation based on Steve's recommendation.
Exactly.
Okay, so we just get the vote on, we don't have to review each proposal,
No, we don't.
it's already done for
It's done.
us.
Right.
So,
He has a review system, but we go by Steve. He's an expert.
Okay.
Yeah.
but because we have the QPA,
Right.
we can go to a higher level.
Yeah.
And then we have to make a decision we're gonna award, because any financial issues, we don't get that extra money from the state, we
Right.
may not be able to do it. So we have to hold money back for this project, we need every dollar. So,
We advertise for 2 years, but we can do 1 year with the 1-year option.
no, 2 years is fine, we don't have to, they don't, if it doesn't, no, if nothing gets done, we don't pay, right?
Right, if nothing gets done, they don't get paid, and, you know, the reason why we wanted to go to the 2 years, not only to try to get like a price saving, was also because the permit is good for 2 years.
Right.
And the permit runs with the applicant, it doesn't run with the commission.
Right.
So it gets complicated if you have like one applicator 1 year, and then you get another one, that permit's gonna be vacated. It gets really complicated, so it's easier to do a 2 year.
So next month we'll know, we'll be voting on,
Yeah,
on a winner.
yeah. There's a program similar to what we've, you know, proposed to have done in the past.
On goose management, I sent you guys over the information from the federal government, they're ready to rock, and they actually, I surprised, Jeannie and I both were surprised. that they're gonna send out letters to the previous goose holders.
What?
The winners of the goose nest. Yeah, so anybody that had a goose nest in their backyard in the last year, they're gonna get a letter from the federal government. So, yeah, welcome to for basically completing the form and signing it, so if they do find another goose, they can treat it with. Which is great.
No, she is going to send us the same information, right, Don? So we can follow up if she doesn't get any response.
She's gonna follow up with, she's gonna tell us which ones they'll follow up. That's right.
Okay,
We
good.
don't have to, we're gonna give her the leeway, we don't have to go out and knock on doors yet. We got a little time, but I'll tell you, the goose, I had a dream the other day, the goose laid eggs in my house. It's getting bad. And they're surrounding my church, they're surrounding my church, they're literally surrounding my church. It's great. This might be the year of the goose, I don't know.
Yeah, you know why? I ask that because I'm sure you've seen that all of that information that comes with the permission form, right? And I just reading it over myself, I think for the average person to get something like that in the mail, I don't know that they really understand.
Well, we're gonna let them try to do it themselves. We don't wanna waste time and energy, because I don't have any time or energy. So I'm wearing down, baby. I need the public to do their best, and they listen to this. I hope they.
Yeah, well, just because it's time sensitive, that's why I say that.
Well, we'll know, when she sees the nest, and she'll have the report back, we can knock on doors. So we're gonna wait until we do that.
Okay.
The other
And so it will be I just want to know what the structure of that's going to be. If she doesn't get a reply back from someone, then we'll get the information for our towns to
We're
go.
gonna wait. No, not the town. The towns are all signed up to that.
No, I mean the neighbor, the property owner. So let's say she sees a nest, and she still doesn't have the permission form back.
We'll knock, whoever's town it's in, the commissioner. will knock.
Who is the we?
The commissioner will knock on the door.
The commissioner for the town where the goose nest has been spotted, right? Okay, I just want to know that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and that's the way it's been. It's been working out. It's Carol, myself, you might have had one.
I've done it.
Carol and I have been the winners of that.
Yeah.
They seem to love intermaking. Maybe because they feed them here, but that's another story. Feeding geese are bad. Shouldn't be feeding geese. Shouldn't feed wild animals at all. So I don't know why people do, but they do.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah.
It's actually against many township ordinances.
Oh, I think every town has it. But it doesn't ever get enforced.
Public land, right?
Private land,
You don't find it.
like, yeah. But public, people are feeding geese on public land now,
Yeah.
so.
Oh. So, and we'll still be treating along Deal Lake Drive, or is that planned? Or
Yeah, there's no proposal to treat anything right now. We haven't got, maybe next month we can talk about it, but there's no plan right now.
Yeah, let's do that for the next meeting, or is it going to be too late?
We'll talk about it, but we have a financial issue. We don't have $96,000 outstanding from the state, and we need to get this great grant going, and right now we're feeding ourselves. We're not getting any funds from anybody else. So, that's a big consideration. Might have to wait till next year. We have to make that hard decision, but we have to get this project going, so.
Right. Steve, when does that that application have to go on to be effective to treat the geese, for the deterrence?
You're talking about the grass?
The goose stuff.
Yeah.
That, the goose stoppers.
Correct.
Goose stoppers, right.
Spray, it's the treat, not the people that run around with double dogs.
No, that's right, that's what I was saying, so that can be done any time of year, I mean, it's a deterrent to stop them from feeding.
Right.
In a location, so, like say it started up in July, it could be just as effective, as opposed to starting it in May or something. Obviously, the sooner the better, But it just gives the grass, like, for them, they can see a different color and
Right.
a bad taste. And that's.
Yeah.
The only problem I had with the whole thing, I loved it, I think it worked great, but since Interlinking doesn't do it, I don't think Lock Harbor did it. I think it's totally useless because the geese just go the other side of the lake and poop all over the place, so it's just, we gotta do it 100% or not do it at all. So we have to have total cooperation, I think, to do that, or the towns could do it themselves. That's another thing, we did it as a demonstration, I thought it was really successful. I thought you thought that too, right, Jeannie?
What was the last thing you asked,
You
Don?
thought it was very successful too. didn't you?
Yeah, you could see the difference on
Yeah.
Dealing Drive after the treatment.
Yeah.
And as I used to understand it, I don't know if it's the same chemical that they use, but I thought that, once they're established, it's harder to get rid of them. So if the stuff is applied sooner, then they don't get established and it's not as hard to get them deterred.
Yeah,
That
we
was,
could do it on all over Deal Lake, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But if we can't do it in Interlake, especially because it's a huge area, and they fly over here and they're doing the same thing.
would it be, why don't we put that as something to discuss because we might need to get prices and then bring it back to the towns to see how cooperative the town would be in Allenhurst or Interlaken and,
I don't know, I think
Sure.
we're doing, I'm not ready to talk to, I don't know, I'm not, you guys.
Well,
I'm not ready to
we'll
go to.
talk about it with-
$3,000 on goose treatment.
I don't know.
I have Lock Harbor shaking their head right now, so.
Just asking how much it costs, that's all. And we don't want to discuss that now, but let's put it on our agenda and see if we can get some figures for what it costs.
We can try to do that, but be honest with you, if my time's valuable, I'm only
Well,
gonna be able to
yeah,
do so much. If you want to go to the guy, I'll give you his number, you can knock him out. Knock it out of the box, but I'll tell
The
you,
guy-
it's gonna be expensive.
The Goose Stoppers people.
Correct. Correct. They're the cheapest option. Yeah, cheap.
Okay.
All right, let me move on. Now we got updated 2016, again, that's the $96,000 that we owed. I sent some information in on certificate of insurance. They, in writing, told us they wanted us to update all the certificates of insurance to show the state was held harmless. And we said, you're absolutely crazy. Why do we do that? Why do we go back 6-7 years and ask our vendors or contractors to update their certificates of insurance? It wasn't practical. And we saw a lot of blank faces on the screen, and also the head guy said, we don't want you to do that, which wasn't what one of the lower folks said. And anyway, it was a kind of misinterpretation, and we got to clarify today. So we sent all the certificate insurance that we had. We might be missing a few, and we'll gather that up and send it to them. But I think we're pretty good on that, and hopefully in 2 or 3 weeks we can get traction on that. We'll know tomorrow a little bit better because they sent them into the DP for that. So that's it for that. Okay, hold on. Now we have the reestablished report meeting of the Steel Lake Commission. And the update on that, we have you guys have a set amendment, it's resolution 25026, authorizing amendment 2 to the agreement establishment of a joint meeting known as Steel Lake Commission.
Okay.
You want to read
The
that?
cross out is what we're taking.
The
out.
cross out is what we're taking out, and what we have below is what we're putting in. And I'll read what we're putting in. This is based on a discussion between Jeannie, myself, Carol, and the mayor of Asbury, and we thought it was appropriate. We said we'll do it. Here we go. Said formula list shall apply to all budget activities of the commission. Major capital expenditures not included in the budget activities must be approved with the consent in writing by the governing bodies of all member municipalities. In the event any formula for sharing capital expenditures agreed upon by the governing bodies cannot be used in order to secure federal state grants, the proportionate share of each municipality may be determined by mutual agreement after a joint negotiation of all member municipalities of the commission and other granting or participating government divisions or agencies. So
Okay, so I move that we accept this amendment to our agreement for the establishment of the Deal Lake Commission.
Second? Second,
Intro like in second, sorry.
thank you. Atlinghurst,
Yes.
Asbury Park,
Yes,
Interlaken,
Yes.
Love Arbor. Yes. And Ocean.
Yes. Very good. Okay. They just. And you-
It's exactly what you said. It was- Here we go. We got the spring cleanup. That's gonna be April 5th, guys. So we're advertising that and we're gonna have the signs up and Jesse's gonna. If all of you can talk to your towns about putting on their signs and information boards on their Facebook page or whatever social media you can do would be great. Right now, we're meeting in Asbury Park, but we'll have specific spots on our website, so check our website, Facebook page, check those for specific locations, probably Allenhurst is gonna be a biggie. Probably down by the Flume, we're gonna have one down by Nick's Pizzeria is definitely gonna be one for township folks, one of our schools is gonna come out to that, and help out a lot. We got some supporters over there already, the Wi-Fi team is gonna be there to help out. And of course, Interlaken, Carol's gonna be there.
Document, how many people.
We got that from the last one. The last 3 or 4 count for this grant,
Yeah,
right? Count. So we have those numbers.
just get a really good head count,
Right.
because our rates have been cut, for volunteers by roughly 20%.
Okay.
So they're not it doesn't seem they're gonna hold us to the same amount, but we should still really.
Well, we're gonna have a lot, this will have a bunch, because the day before, on April 4th, we're gonna have the key clubbers of New Jersey in town. They're gonna be Berkeley Carteret, we're gonna have some, not a lot, maybe 25 come over to deal, and they're gonna rake the microplastics at the east end, and put those in trash bags and get rid of them, so that's their approach. We're also gonna work Sunset Lake and Sunset Park, and we're working with the Kiwanis Club on that, so. But it's minor stuff on Deal Lake, we're not walking all over the lake, we're only focusing really on the east end. But it went from 350 kids running around the town to 100 volunteers that they picked for the 350, so it's a little bit more manageable. So we're sleeping, but Wesley Lake is not gonna be done, because it's a little bit too far away, so.
Don,
yeah.
I had a question. I think, didn't we have Pat from Interlaken come on a couple months ago during the public comment section and ask for some help?
Yes, we're gonna send a team over there to do the logs if we can.
Okay.
At least get them to the street side, roll them up.
I think somebody's down there cutting them up, so they're a little smaller right now.
I think so. So we definitely want to send them over to Pat. and
Okay.
help. So she's been real good about that.
Don, I have a question.
Sure.
The first one is for Jesse. Jesse, I just wanted to follow up. I sent you the QR code and a little sentence put into advertisement. Do you have that or do you need me to
Yes,
read?
nope, I got that, and I'll see I'll see how much the cost difference is for that.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Second question is about the MTVs. Don, last month we talked about having Asbury Park.
Yes, thank you, Jim. I'm gonna send you a note on that. I actually will talk about it in a couple minutes, if you do business.
Okay.
So let's hold off on that. I got a deep thing to show you. Actually, I can't show you on Facebook, but I can talk about it. It's, hey, let's hold off to the business. Any other old business? Other than Pete? No. New business. We have, there's two things on the website now we have. Not the website yet, I shouldn't say that. Or it might be already, but I'm not sure. But the key is on the Facebook page, we have locations for craft access. I think there's 7 access points on Deal Lake, I believe. And my son and I worked on that. He showed me how to do it. I did the next one, so it actually works pretty cool. So it shows the access points. You know what? I'm gonna try to switch. 1 second for a second. Change the video to mine. Integrated.
This is something you want to put up on the website, Don?
Yeah, I'll send it to Ken. I might not have already saw it. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
So it shows the actual locations. This is not a great shot. But it shows the highlights and it gives the location. So we have Allenhurst kayak, we have Interlake location. Let me go back. There we go. Interlake North, Interlake South, we have Asbury Park, boat ramp. We have Asbury Park East End, which is all the way down by the ocean. There's that launch point there for kayaks and stand-up paddleboards. And of course, we have the ocean attached kayak ramp all the way to the west. So Ocean only has 1 right now. They might end up having more, but that's 3 or 4 more than we had before. So, you know, we only had Asbury for a long time, maybe the one on East End. Allen, which was easy accessible, but they have a dock, that they have a dock. They're supposed to have a bigger dock. And Interlake has 2 new additions, which is wonderful. So definitely more access to points, and people have asked for that. So we have that now. And that's on our Facebook page right now. And then we have and they're active maps. You can actually use it, the Google Maps. And then we have manufacturing treatment device, Jeannie. That's another one. And we have Comstock. We have the Deal Lake Drive MTD. We have a Kingsley Avenue, which is right in front of the sewer plant. And so you can see where it's at and zoom in on a picture and see where it's at. So it's pretty cool. The 5th Avenue and Sunset Lake, which is right on Sunset Lake. You have another one on Sunset and Grand on the northwest corner, and then Sunset and Grand on the southeast. So there's 3 of them on Sunset, right? And then you got the big one up on this, and a big one on Memorial Drive. That's the last. So Jeannie, we checked the Sunset ones. The Sunset ones are pretty full.
Okay.
There's 3 of them there, and the one on Kingsley and the one on Deal Lake Drive probably should be empty. But the other ones are not doing too bad. Memorial Drive and Comstock, I think, are fine.
All right. I'll let them know.
Okay. But the map it's a very helpful map. It's on Facebook now.
So, yeah, I mean, we can post that on the website, both of those, and then I'll send it out in a newsletter or the watercraft access points.
Yep. You could you link them, just link them on the
Yeah.
Yeah. People
But I want to
been
write.
asking about the access points for years.
Right. I'll write a story about it and put it in the newsletter.
And I cornered my son. He was able to do it. And he did it in about 3 minutes. Okay. I'm going to be chatting with the Winnebago School on March 31st. I got invited back. So that's going to be a fun chat on the watershed. So we'll spend about 40 minutes with the kids, and they always ask interesting questions. So, I always tell them I was a member of this. I went to the same school. Went to the life. Did you get in fights? Were you bullied? It's always fun. It's always fun. But I'm going to try to get interactive screens so I can display stuff on from the website and also Facebook. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Don, I was wondering when you were talking about that, every year Steve sends out that great NOMS poster contest. Maybe those kids, since they've been so involved with you all these years, that would be a good place to have.
I don't know when is it? You do that, but I don't know if it's re-advertising.
It'll probably be advertised next month, but
if you find anything, send it over to me. That's good. We did there was another contest with the American Water Company, and I sent that. I think I sent it to all you guys, the commissioners, to talk to your Board of Education to see what we can do.
Right, but this is just specifically, I know Steve always asks us to promote that, and it just sounds like those kids would be 4th graders make great art. I know, because I taught that age group, 4th and 5th.
And the other thing I sent to all the commissioners was the DEP program for tree planting. I think that was the middle school. It was geared to middle school kids. And so that was sent. I think, Jeannie, you already started working it.
Yeah,
I asked all the commissioners to talk to their Board of Education to see what they can do.
right. They
so-
shared it. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's been shared and Tom Pavinsky's said, yeah, if somebody wants to write a grant, he would be more than willing to involve kids and what they're doing it with the environmental shade tree. You know, they're planting trees and gardens all over the place, so he'd love to have children involved, but he's not going to write a grant.
Okay. Other new business, anything else? Yeah. Tom,
Have we replaced the attorney yet?
We just went into the.
we're going after this.
We don't have to do, okay.
Who's in today's coaster?
Yeah, thank you. Oh, you saw it, good.
Wow.
Oh, what did you say? I'm sorry. It was hard to hear.
The request for qualifications for today's poster, for advertising today's poster.
That's big. That's new news.
Yeah.
You chased away our volunteer lawyer. Was he busy back?
So, what's the time frame, Don? What is the timeline for that then?
I'm looking at Jesse.
We're asking for all the proposals to be back by April 15th.
Okay. And then what? It comes to us? So what's the
And
next?
we'll see how many we get in,
Does
and if we only get one,
Dave review that?
yeah,
So Dave reviewed
has a
it.
rating system.
Right.
And he'll,
I'm sorry.
we'll send that to everybody, what we got.
Our QPA. Our QPA is gonna review them, give us a score, and then we'll get to review the scores.
And if we only have one, then there's really nothing
Right.
to discuss.
Our pay is so good. You know, we beat that door. So, okay, nothing else then. What's the commissioner's last word?
Oh, well, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. So then we'll be receiving the scores in May and then review them?
Hopefully right after April, right after the proposals
We
are.
should see them next meeting.
Yeah, we'll have it before the next meeting.
Yeah.
And then at the next,
Depending on how many we get. If we only get one, then there's no reason to have a workshop and discuss.
The applicants be reviewed by our QPA. And then we'll have the information sent out, I assume
Oh,
beforehand,
yeah.
and we'll get to see it before the meeting, okay?
And we'll
before the April meeting?
Right, and we'll make a decision. If there's
Okay.
one, then we can review it.
Okay.
So we'll need a workshop for the April meeting?
Maybe, maybe, it would be not a workshop, it would be probably
A closed
a
session.
closed session.
Okay, but we need a
Even
time, right? Like before or after the meeting?
before.
No, before the meeting.
Okay, so it'll be like a 6 o'clock start?
No,
We don't know that.
We don't.
know. We don't know.
most likely.
Yeah, I'm just,
It depends on how,
Depends how many people are submitting their.
we'll know better once they're at April 15th. We can have, we have plenty of time to have this.
okay. Thank you.
Let's go to last word.
Okay,
Margaret.
Clean Ocean Action Beach Sweeps, April 12th, 9 to 12:30. I hope people will put it on their calendar. And also just continually trying to make residents of my neighborhood realize that their actions at their home directly affect the water quality in the lake and in the ocean. And how not putting out the recyclables and them blowing down the street.
Right.
The securing of just a simple lid with maybe a bungee cord.
I have the worst last word. So, Anthony.
Okay, I'm glad to see that with the CU wall square, that I think that's big. That really is a big deal, and it's a lot of work, and hopefully we can get that finished, and the geese have been another problem, it's always has been a problem, I mean, deal immensely even on that Mount Terrace, I mean, they just stay in the middle of the winter time, and it's like, I don't really feel like running them over.
I guess the letter to the president about sending the geese back was part of the trade.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't get that letter. Carolyn?
I'm looking forward to lots of volunteers on April 5th. I'll be at the Interlaken station, and there's plenty of trash for everyone, and there's a few boats out there too. There were two earlier this week, but one of them has been retrieved. But there's at least one more floating around out there.
Can you get the word out to Interlake residents too? We'll do our best with signs, but I don't know how they get word out to people, if they have a newsletter or something.
Yeah, I tell people when I'm walking the dog.
That's good.
Don, are you gonna bust out the magnets for the cleanup next week?
We will have magnets available for whoever wants to, that's true, Josh.
Don, we didn't get to do it last time. Can we put some in front of some of those storm drains where we kept finding those metal spikes from the street sweepers
That's a good
and try
idea.
and scoop some of those up, please?
In Lock Harbor. I'll make sure the Harbor has
Edgemont,
one.
yes.
Somebody go, what are you fishing for? That's good, that's great, that's a good idea. James. Jeannie, what's up?
Well, I've been in touch with Clonet, the people that do the water testing and train our volunteers to test water. And we will be needing people. And just for those people that aren't aware, the Clonet trains for free. They'll take you to a site and teach you how to use the equipment. You get the equipment, and then you go and you test the water around your lake. The data is very important for us to have. And we'll be looking for people, so you might just watch for that. I'll be advertising it, and then, because we've had a few people had to resign, retire, who've been doing it for quite a while. So we're going to be looking for people that would like to be citizen scientists and get trained.
Thanks. My last word is trash. As Margot said, in her town, people maybe they don't have large enough trash cans. I would ask it walk over to investigate getting larger trash cans for recycling, so people can do it better, or at least along the lake, put it in the back of the house and let them pick it up back of the house. It's really bad, but it's every town. It's just not Lock Harbor. Asbury seems to be does a good job, but I see these little carts running around by the parking lot in Asbury, by the fisherman's lot, and the trash is blowing out of the back of the truck and going. It's all that trash along the fence by the park. By the beach grass. It's really not thrown there. It's blown out of the trucks.
At night, a lot.
And also birds,
Get the
birds.
spirit going down the street. Like,
Yeah.
and
But
then it ends.
Interlake is just as bad.
Yeah.
Interlake is just as bad. They have the same system as Lock Harbor, and people are piling up cardboard next to, and these winds are tremendous, and we gotta think better. I mean, I know maybe Ocean can team up with Interlake and help them with their trash. Maybe they can do pickups when they do West Allenhurst and have some kind of joint service. Maybe Interlake can plow West Allenhurst.
If you read the brochure that they send out each year, they do put the correct information for keeping it secured, but people don't follow.
That's all.
Breaking it down.
But the big cans we got, you just throw everything in a can. And you'll lose a little bit when it gets thrown in the truck sometimes, but it's not what it is. It's bad Italy. I mean, I see the trash
Yeah, a
along the
lot of people
fence.
need to add one more can to their house. They don't want to spend the money.
I'm not sure about Elmhurst, how Elmhurst is. Elmhurst good.
Now it's the same system as.
And Asbury, I think their recycling program, I think do they do it themselves in Asbury?
No, it's contracted.
It's contracted, okay.
Yeah.
But it's not a big bin, it's individual bins.
Yeah, they have small little trucks that they ride around in.
But
the
it might be
city-
something that Asbury wants to look at, because it really makes the trash trashy. I mean, and Asbury does a really good job trying to pick up the trash. But I think it really affects the town. You see more trash than ever, because it's blowing. The winds are horrible in the last 5 years. So,
Right.
anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I think we need to stop maybe trying to separate all of it because it all gets thrown into the same truck in the same
Yes,
part
it
of
does.
the truck when comes around. So
I agree with it. Well, it doesn't go in the same truck. The big stuff, we in Ocean County, it's one bin for everything. Cardboard.
it's
That's
same in
Well,
Interlaken.
It gets separated by the recycling companies themselves. They separate it, and
right.
yeah, Asbury does not have us separated. We throw all the recycling in one bin. I got asked about that. So what they
But I think
do,
all the towns could do better, for sure.
That could help.
Fine. And maybe we can talk to our clean communities people. We all have it. So maybe we'll talk
Log
to them.
gardens.
You don't have. That's it here. Public, let's open to the public.
A motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Interlaken.
Aye.
Fine.
Opposed?
Okay, public, how we doing out there? Anybody want to raise their hand?
I would.
How you going? And Mary?
Hi, yes, Mary Ellen Harvey. I live in Lock Harbor. And I have a concern, and I didn't know it came up today, and I just happened to see that you guys were meeting, and
Sure.
it has to do with our planning board just approved last week a in-ground pool to a resident at the corner of Edgemont and Euclid, which is in a flood-prone zone and floods regularly. And it was presented, the application had it on the east side, and apparently in the meeting, they changed their mind and wanted it on the west side, and it got approved. So there's quite a few citizens, like in where I'm at, we're across from it, that are concerned. We just found out about it, and so we're we don't quite know what to do, but like we're obviously, I mean, I assume you're familiar with the area, and my family's been here for actually over 100
Say it
years.
again. It was Edgemont and what?
Edgemont and Euclid. It's that
a little bit
triangular.
like-
It floods.
They don't connect. They don't connect.
It's where the triangle.
The triangle, they do.
The triangle with the house with the.
Oh, down on the west end. Got it.
With a
Yes.
little white fence.
Yes.
Yes. And now some hedges, but the very elaborate plans for expansion, and again, the in-ground pool, which was approved without an environmental impact assessment and without public comment either for that. They changed it mid-meeting from what I understand. So there's a couple of issues, but one of the issues is that, I mean, if that's a pool and it floods, and it does, then the chemicals and everything, I mean, it's going to go into the lake, it's going to go into the street. I mean, it floods up to the courtyard where there's a little flower pot, and it does it regularly being, last time was, I guess, about a year and a half ago. So it has nothing to do, like, I know there's been a lot of work with the flume and all that, but and it wasn't a nor'easter even, and it wasn't a hurricane. It just was a lot of rain. And it does it, maybe every couple of years. I mean, it just does. And it comes into like a lake area. And if there's a pool there, I mean, I just don't know, we felt.
Mary Ellen, my opinion on pool water, there's a lot worse water going in the lake than pool water. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it's gonna affect our big lake. That little pool water is not gonna affect the lake one bit. But whether it's in the flood zone and you're allowed to put it in the flood zone, that's a whole nother story you guys have to look into. That's really a town issue. Deal Lake Commission wouldn't be concerned. If they're ripping up the shoreline to put a pool, we'd be concerned. But it's inland, it's not on the shoreline. It was on the shoreline.
Okay, but it's right across, when the lake floods, it all becomes that property where the pool would be.
I personally never saw the water over that.
Oh, there's lots of, we have pictures. Oh,
Yeah, I never saw it personally, because usually I'm batting down in patches and up, so.
2005.
Yeah, 2005. I think. Yeah. I don't think it's been 20.
it did. It just did it. It did it a lot. Matter of fact, neighbors lost their furnaces and everything else. It was
Yeah, I know
like
that.
a year and a half ago.
But that's really a Lock Harbor Borough issue,
But
not.
the DEP allows.
So you don't care. So I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, if there's garbage containers that are going into the, into the lake,
Lake
then,
water is allowed, if I'm not mistaken.
Pool water, chlorinated pool water is allowed to discharge like a backwash into the storm by the DEP. I'm not prohibited. I gotta check that. I don't get.
I would really be interested in that because every single person
Does.
has a pool and is doing it
It's good
in my
question.
neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't miss, but I
And I see it just
I
like,
looked at the
it's like
Paris-
Venice some
I looked at
days.
the Paris property.
And it's getting worse. I mean, this is, of all Edgemont, this is where it floods the most. I mean, again,
Did you
For
testify?
under
Did
over
you
100 years. I can show you
You're on the
pictures.
board, she's on the, you're on the board, right? Yeah,
Who, me?
are you
No.
on the- Did you testify on that or no?
Did I what?
Did you testify at the meeting?
It wasn't, no, because the plans, we got legal notification, but they changed it.
Yeah.
And they, I mean, that's another issue that, we are
Well, I
having
wish you luck.
issues with, because it was changed without proper notification. But
Yeah.
again, I had asked if, the ramifications of having a pool in a flood prone area, and the potential impact was considered. And, they said, Marilyn said, it hadn't been mentioned. I'm going to get the audio of the meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, look, the flood, you have access to the flood maps of Interlake, the 100-year storm flood maps. If that area floods, that should, or lock up, that should be part of the consideration. That's,
Okay.
I'll be more worried about the electrical issues and other issues and.
I guess I just wanted to alert you guys, like, I just don't know, I don't know anything about it. And I was able to be on the meeting tonight. So with the neighbors, I
Well,
volunteered.
one second, once again, Marianne.
No, I mean, I just looked it up and, Don, you're right. It's a permitted, it's an allowable activity.
It's
The
allowed.
discharge, I'm looking at the regulation right now. Swimming pool discharge from, residential swimming pool discharge, is authorized, and that includes filtered backwash into receiving waters that are designated C2, which Deal Lake is a C2 water.
Okay, so it is allowable.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
But when they build the pool, now here's what's happening, they're building houses and pools, and they're pumping the sediment out into the street with no filtration, and you got, that's not happening. It's happened before, so.
it's not happening.
I know, but anyway, good luck on that, but that's all yours, unfortunately.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks for all the work you do, guys.
but it is a good spot for carp remediation.
I would think first time that it rains like that, it's just gonna push the pool right up out of the ground anyway, and they're probably gonna have to remove it.
That's a good point.
Very good point.
It may not be a pool, it might be a boat.
We've had lots
It'll
of
be above ground.
people do.
It's happened.
It has, right? I know.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, good thought, good thought.
Hydrostatic pressure.
Yep, yeah. And there's a lot there. What else we got? Anybody else? Josh, you want to say anything? More than you did?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I don't see any more.
A motion to close the public hearing,
So,
second,
Second.
all in favor? Opposed?
okay,
A motion to adjourn the meeting,
so,
second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
okay, we'll see you next month.